Hallo hier aus Paris, ich bin wieder auf der Paris Photo und wie jedes Mal suche ich natürlich nach neuen Ideen rund um die Fotografie und die habe ich auch dieses Mal wieder gefunden, insgesamt 2 und eine erste Sache möchte ich euch vorstellen und zwar einen sehr außergewöhnlichen Stand hier auf der Paris Photo. Auf meinem Weg hier über die Paris Photo bin ich an einem Stand vorbeigekommen, der total anders war als alle anderen, weil hier hängt kein einziges Bild. Wir sehen nur schwarze Wände mit Texten drauf. Und was es damit auf sich hat, kann euch der Fotograf selber erzählen. Mr. Horvitz.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. I just said, I walked past here and it's the only stand where there's not a single image. And of course, you stop and you're like, what is
Where are
this?
the photographs?
Where are the photographs? Where are the photo fans? Tell us about the project.
So this is actually, it's true, there are no photographs, or maybe there are no photographic prints, but all of these are photographs, or were photographs. So the project is called Nostalgia, and it started, I think, in 2018, and I started to erase my own personal digital photograph archive, which I've started to make since before cell phone photography, maybe around early 2000s. I would have a digital point-and-shoot camera, and I would just make photographs, everyday life, kind of in the tradition of like snapshot photography, photographing every day, and I would amass thousands and thousands of images of just daily life. And then when iPhones came about and I started making photographs with my phone, still more and more, you would have like 100, 200,000 images on my computer. They would migrate to a hard drive, go to a new laptop, end up on the cloud. And it's just almost this kind of feeling of like oppression that this huge archive is kind of like dragging behind me and like swallowing me. And so at one point, not knowing like what am I going to do with this, I decided to make an artwork in which I would slowly delete it. And so I slowly would start deleting the digital images, and a select number of them I would write captions, single sentence captions, and keep the time and date stamps. So it would have the time, the date, and then the file name. So this one is image 9596.jpg from December 12th, 2007 at 1:56 p.m., a tree growing in a cage. And so they were these single sentences, kind of like minimal poems, and like kind of like a caption. There's all these different ways to think about them. And then they get erased, so they become a kind of shadow or like this kind of trace of an image that no longer exists. And so, but still, for me, the image might still exist. If I read a tree growing in a cage, I might remember that image. But then if you read it, you wouldn't remember that because you don't have that image in your memory that I made, but you might imagine a new image. So it's almost like this is like the meaning, the contextual meaning of a photograph, like my personal meaning. So now you have that meaning, and maybe you might produce your own image when you think about it.
And now, that's the amazing thing. You are selling the captions, right?
Yes, the gallery is.
So how does it work?
So they're all unique artworks. So a tree growing in a cage, if someone were to purchase it, they would own this one. No one else could own this exact one. And you would have a certificate of ownership, and it would have instructions. Kind of like in line with like history of like conceptual art. A lot of like conceptual artists would have done this in like, 60s, 70s, where like they have a certificate with instructions on how to install the work in your home or in your museum or wherever. And then the instructions basically say you can put it on your wall like this, but you don't have to, this is painted on, hand painted. You could paint it, you could also use vinyl. There's a multitude of ways that you can install it. There's no one way. The only one way is to install the sentence with the time data and the file name. So you could handwrite it, you can do it really big, you can do it really small, but it's kind of like, for me, it's a way, almost in a sense, to collaborate with you or with whoever. There's two kinds of collaborations here. One is your own imagination, when you imagine the image itself that no longer exists that you might imagine. So I'm kind of working with you in that sense, but also in producing the material, actual work. Like let's say you were to hang one in your living room, then you could decide how you want it to look, where you want to put it. Because like for me, it's like if it was just this, you know, then it's like not really, it might not correspond to like the architecture where you want it. So it'd be nicer if find a place, maybe make it a little bigger, a little smaller, you know, the sentence can be longer to kind of like fit in your own, like the space that you want.
And it's even a collaboration with people then seeing it in my living room.
Exactly, yeah.
So it goes further. What was the reason for deleting the images? Was it just because you had too big an archive? Were you frustrated with the amount? Or was the initial idea of this project?
Well, there was like a frustration with having just to always, I was explaining before, always moving them around. Like, you know, I would have a hard drive in 2005, and then the hard drive would become too old. You got to get a new hard drive, and that hard drive stopped working, and then you move it to the laptop, or stick it on iCloud, or put it on this laptop, and this laptop gets stolen. And it was like this constant, I mean, you know, I could have just got one huge, crazy hard drive and put them all in there, but then after 15 years, you're going to get a new one. And it was like this kind of frustration, this anxiety, because it's like, oh, I have all of my images of my life. And so I kind of wanted to kind of come to terms with that and somehow kind of like, how do I deal with that? And so I had this idea. I mean, it's pretty radical. I'll just erase it and just slowly erase it. But as there's another aspect of the work that's not on display here, is before I completely erase it, I'll project it in an exhibition for 1 minute. Whether you're there or not, there might be a viewer, there might not be a viewer. It goes up, it comes back to life. In a sense, a lot of these are snapshots. They're kind of ephemeral moments of life. And so this little moment can come back for this one little minute and then disappear.
So, there's a book with all these captions. And one is like a catalog. I can go and say, I would like to buy this one.
Yeah, I guess so.
And what is the feedback you get? What are people saying here who see this? Are they saying this is not photography, there's no photo, or?
Well, not yet. Well, I don't know. I haven't got that. I want to. I want to hear how people really feel. I mean, I think I'm the only booth without any photographs, even though I am. They're all photographs, and it's very much about photography and about, you know, this condition we live in. But I haven't heard, you know. I want to hear the feedback. So if you hear any, let me know. I want to hear the negative feedback. I mean, I kind of, like, that's for me, that's like part of, like, you know, like there should be, you know, some kind of reaction or a response. It's kind of like poking at the public.
I think it's really kicking off things when you think about it, because it's sort of the picture reduced to just to the content as described, and it's a concept that is really working in your head.
Yeah.
Is that still a photo? What does it mean? Then suddenly your words are evoking a new picture in my head. Your web address?
I would just Google my name, David Horvitz. Like my website is davidhorvitz.com, just my name.com. But on my website, it's actually interesting. Unrelated to this, completely unrelated to this project, my website has no images. And the reason why I wanted to do that was because so many people go on artist websites and they like go through it for 1 minute and they get an idea of the artist. And they're like, okay, that's who he is. That's who she is. That's what they do. And like a curator is like, I need an artist in the show. Okay, no, next. And I wanted to make, you can't do that. So what you get instead is audio files. And you want to learn about nostalgia, it's me, actually it's a woman talking about nostalgia, this text I wrote about the work, and it's 5 minutes, or it's 10 minutes, or it's 1 minute. Or you go to, and so you have to spend time with it. And if you don't want to spend time with it, then you don't get anything.
Cool. Thank you.
Ciao. Tschüss. Tschüss.
Ein weiterer Tipp rund um die Paris Photo sind die ganzen Dinge, die seitlich der Messe stattfinden. Und darunter sind zu nennen zum Beispiel die Polykopie. Das ist das große Festival der Fotobücher auf einem Boot an der Seine. Heute aber etwas Neues, was ich so noch nicht kannte, nämlich die Fotodiscoveries. Die Fotodiscoveries finden hier am Samstag statt in einem Hotel Pullman direkt am Eiffelturm in wunderbarer Lage, 10. Stock, mit einem fantastischen Blick über die Stadt. Und wir haben hier eine kleine Messe für Vintage Prints. Über 100 Händler, die an Tischen sind und ihre Schätze mitgebracht haben, in denen man so richtig mal in Fotografie baden kann. Hier findet man von ganz kleinen Spielereien, kleinen Prints so zum Mitnehmpreis bis hin zum Henri Cartier-Bresson Print für 20.000 € alles. Und man findet vor allem auch alles, was die Historie der Fotografie an Prozessen mitgebracht hat. Also von der Daguerreotypie über die Salzprints, über die Heliogravüren. Hier findet man alles, alles, alles. Und das macht einfach wunderbar Spaß und ist toll, sich mal wieder so diesen alten Fotos hinzugeben. Dieses Jahr, wie gesagt, am Samstag im Hotel Pullman seitlich der Paris Photo in 10 Minuten Entfernung. Wer das im nächsten Jahr sich vielleicht mit auf den Zettel schreiben möchte, sollte sich unter Fotodiscoveries mal nachschauen, ob der Termin der gleiche bleibt, ob es wieder stattfindet. Aber auf jeden Fall ein Tipp, denn das ist hier etwas erschwinglicher und etwas vielleicht mehr in der Historie der Fotografie, aber nichtsdestoweniger eine ganz tolle Aktivität während der Paris Photo.